So a close-up of what broke is the gear and the housing here. Welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today's repair is a 2016 Kia Optima. A customer states that the passenger front window had fallen down.
It's going down.
There is a service bulletin for replacing the drum. They call it a drum assembly. It's what winds the cables up and down to move the window up and down. The customer has provided the whole window regulator, and that is what we're going to be replacing. So over here at the passenger front window, you can push in the window button, you can hear the motor working, and the window itself is not moving. And you can see you can just move the window up and down. So next step is we're going to take the door panel off. So there's two screws. There's an old plastic panel behind the interior door handle, and there's one underneath the rubber pocket here. That just comes up, and then kind of prying near the handle usually pops the cover out. These are Phillips head screws. Okay, next we're going to remove the mirror cover. This has two plastic clips and then a metal clip there. After that's removed, it's got clips all the way around the door panel. Usually I try to find a grip or a spot, and I just start. Okay, so there's four screws. There's two here. You can kind of have to push that cable out of the way, and two there. The lock had to be in the lock position to slide it out of the door panel. After that, was able to remove this easier. We'll disconnect our electrical connectors. So to make the door handle process a little bit easier, you could have removed the cables instead of removing the whole handle assembly. There is a tab right here that is going to release this cover, and then we can get the screws out, and you can release the cables that way. So our regulator is this big black piece here. So that means we'll have to take the harness off of it, we'll take the motor off of it, and the speaker out of it. It is a combination of 10 millimeters, maybe an 8 millimeter, and connectors. We'll disconnect the speaker. There's four 8 millimeter screws. We'll disconnect the window motor. Disconnect the crash sensor. Okay, we'll remove the window motor. It's got three 7 millimeter screws. Next, we're going to work on unbolting the window from the regulator. There's two access ports here. There's one here, and that should give us access to the bolt holding the window on. So I got the window in position. There are two 10mm screws, bolts. Alright, so I got a suction cup there. Actually, it's a valve lapping tool that works just as well to help prevent the window from falling. If this doesn't work, you can remove the trim piece and then get the window out, move the window out and just set it aside that way. But we're going to try this, and because we still can't get access to the other end of the harness, which is fed through the door, and with the other part of the handle removed, we can we can fish that back through. But we're going to remove all the screws, the 10mm screws holding the door panel, holding the regulator in. There's 10 screws. So before trying to remove the panel, there is a plastic trim piece sticking through. We'll go ahead and push that in. That is a part of a harness on the back side. And then that gives us access to our other connectors. On the back side, there is two harness clips, and that will be able, and with that we can pull the harness through, and our regulator is out. So a close-up of what broke is the gear and the housing here. The gear on the motor is plastic also. This one is fine, so we're going to reuse the motor. And also, I think the motor is kind of pricey for this, but we're going to replace this whole panel that comes with all this fun stuff. Before putting the regulator panel back on, there is a zip tie holding the gear piece on. We are going to go ahead and swap over our motor and put that in place, because without that, this can fall out and unravel, and then at that point you might as well just buy another one, because it just seems really hard to get these wound up correctly. We're also going to transfer over our crash sensor. It is two Phillips head screws. Alright, we got all our parts transferred over. We'll run our cables back through. We'll push the grommet on through. We'll put our harness back through. We'll do our clips. Our two connectors on the inside of the door. We got a third wiring harness clip up at the top. Okay, we'll put our 10 screws back in. Our regulator panel's on. We'll put our grommets back in place. Our cable grommets and our harness grommet. Alright, next we're going to work on getting our harness in place. Next we'll work on putting our speaker back in. After taking this out and seeing how this comes off, you don't have to do this. These are easily damaged and it's 4 screws. Why not take it out of the way? Alright, before we put our door panel back on, we gotta bolt up our window. We do need to get it into position, so we'll go ahead and reconnect our window switch temporarily. So this side of the window regulator is a clamp style, and this side is a through bolt, which is still clamps it, but it comes with the bolt on this side, and then you can reuse the bolt you took out for the front side. Before putting our door panel back on, we're going to run this up and down to make sure everything works and is not binding. Motor sounds good and the regulator sounds good. We'll put our grommets back in place. Now we'll work on putting our door handle and door panel back on. We're going to put this back on a little bit differently because of releasing the door handle this way. Alright, before putting the panel back on, make sure all our plastic clips are in the panel itself. Put our cables back in. Connect our window switch. And then there's an accent light here on the side. Hook the door panel on the top below the window. We'll put our 2 screws back in. And last, we'll put our mirror cover on. Before closing the door, I always like to manually check the door. Just to make sure it doesn't, you don't close it and lock yourself out. If you want to go ahead and just relearn the auto function, I'm just guessing you can hold it up, all the way up for 10 seconds and down for 10 seconds. I mean, the auto function was working. The auto function was working even after reinstalling the motor, so I guess that's just memory is in the motor itself. But after all that, wipe the window down and we're done. If you decided to go the drum route, the repair procedure is pretty much the same. You have to remove the regulator, just like we did, but you have a little bit more of a process dealing with the cables. If you replace the drum, it calls for, I looked it up, for $1, surprisingly. All right, well, that's going to wrap up the window regulator. I did find, since it is a composite material, that having either a drill or a little impact gun to get the screws started. So if you're trying to do all this by hand, I did find this a little bit tough of getting the screws started into the new regulator. This was an aftermarket unit. The customer provided the part. They said they spent about $95 on this part. OE part is about $285, and labor costs for about 1.2 hours. But anyway, that's going to wrap this up. I may not have all your answers. Hopefully I had some. That being said, we'll see you on the next one. That doesn't make any sense. I just didn't quite have the time or the patience to do that.